and you're not even going to have the opportunity to build relationships if you're not putting yourself out there and you're not in the room and you're not meeting people and you're just sitting in your home or sitting in your apartment or sitting at your desk or sitting at your 9 to 5 and, making a post on Instagram and hoping that somebody buys from you or hoping that somebody slides into your DMs and asks you to be on your podcast. It doesn't work that way. You have to be actively seeking out opportunities. And you actively seek out opportunities by building relationships and building what is called relationship capital.
What's up, and welcome back to the Scale Your Sales podcast. I am your host and your soon-to-be podcast BFF, Jillian Murphy. If you are absolutely exhausted of hearing the same podcast that only leaves you feeling motivated and just a bunch of fluff, well, you have absolutely landed on the right podcast today. In this episode, we are going to talk about the most important skill you need to generate your business, and that is sales. We are going to dive into topics such as messaging, marketing, how to build lead generation organically, and we are going to talk about how to create consistent cash months inside of your business. And we are also going to talk about how to build a company that isn't just about making money, but is also bringing in actual wealth, while getting back to what I know is your most important thing, time freedom. Now, I am here for real talk, real advice, straightforward tip, and no BS. You can always walk away and implement everything that we talk about in our show and move it into your business immediately. But I have to tell you, I am not your typical business mentor. We are going to talk about things that nobody else is probably talking about on the internet. We are going to talk about what it takes to build a real company and not just about how to manifest your business or how you can make $1 million tomorrow. But if that's what you're looking for, this podcast is absolutely not for you. We are going to talk about the real skills to build a real business. Now, I have spent over 25 years in the corporate sales space, generating over $100 million in sales through multiple industries in the online and the brick and mortar space. I have been able to help over 500 entrepreneurs not only grow their sales, but scale their businesses. Several times per week, I'm going to bring you solo episodes, guest episodes, and even hot seat coaching so that you are able to scale your sales. Now, grab a pen and paper, your beverage of choice, and let's freaking go.
What's up, babes? Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you can feel my energy through today's show because we are on cloud nine. I never know why I say we because it's literally me. I'm always like, we are doing this and we are doing this. And I'm like, girl, it's literally just you. So I am very excited today. And I'm going to share a little story with you. So today's episode is going to be probably a little bit more of a quickie. Who doesn't love a quickie? Today's episode is going to be a little bit more of a quickie, but it's going to be a really important lesson. So make sure you guys listen all the way to the end. So I'm going to dive right in. I talk a lot about ROR, return on relationship, because one of the most important things in business is relationships. I will say this until I'm blue in the face. Every single success that I have had in life has happened because of relationships. Whether this was in my early years in corporate, whether this was promotions that I received in corporate, whether this was awards that I received in corporate, whether this was job transfers I received in corporate, whether this was even jobs that I received in corporate, like moving to new organizations. Anything that I have ever gotten in life has happened because of relationships. Then when I moved to the entrepreneurial space, opportunities that happened were because of relationships. Speaking in people's programs happened because of relationships. Being asked to speak on stages happened because of relationships. Meeting people and introductions happen because of relationships. I mean, you guys, you get the point, right? It's all about relationships. But you're not going to build relationships, and you're not even going to have the opportunity to build relationships if you're not putting yourself out there, and you're not in the room, and you're not meeting people, and you're just sitting in your home or sitting in your apartment or sitting at your desk or sitting at your 9 to 5 and, making a post on Instagram and hoping that somebody buys from you or hoping that somebody slides into your DMs and asks you to be on your podcast. It doesn't work that way. You have to be actively seeking out opportunities. And you actively seek out opportunities by building relationships and building what is called relationship capital. So I'm going to tell you guys a little story. Last year, last April, so we are almost 1 year to the date that this happened. I was in Chris Harder's mastermind, who is my mentor. He's been my mentor for going on 4 years, which I just also want to say, give a shout out to him that I have been ride or die with my mentor since day one. So maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're in mentorship with me, or you're in mentorship with somebody else, or you're not in mentorship at all. And maybe you're wondering why it's not working, or you're wondering why it's taking so long. You guys, 4 years I've been with my mentor. And you know what's so beautiful about this is even today I messaged him a question and I don't have to explain to him what's happening in my business. I don't have to explain to him what infinity is. I don't have to explain to him why I always spiral during the month of February. I don't have to explain any of that because we've been in a business relationship for 4 years. And he knows me. He knows my business. He knows how I act. He knows my strengths. He knows my weaknesses. He knows that I'm terrible at tech. He knows that I'm a rock star at sales. He knows I'm great at building relationships. He knows I'm terrible at organization. He knows all these things, just like I know these things about my longtime clients. And the longer that you are with a mentor, the better results you're going to have. I can look at every single one of my clients that has been successful with me, and they have a few things in common. They've been here for the long game. They didn't buy a month with me. They didn't do, a 1 hour session with me. They went all in and they linked arms with me to build a company, to build a business, not just to make some money. I can help anybody make money. Anyone make money, any business. But they linked arms and they went in all the way. They also stayed with me when it was hard, but more importantly, they stayed with me even when it was good. Because even when things are good, right around the corner for an entrepreneur, it's going to be hard again. So maybe they've had a 20K month or a 30K month or a 100K month, or hit their first $100,000 or their first 500K. And they're like, oh, I don't think I need mentorship anymore. And then guess what happens the next month? They take a dip in their income. A client wants a refund. They lose a team member. They have an unexpected loss in their family. They want to change their offer. And guess what? I'm right there to support them. They don't have to go seek out a new mentor right away. So that's the importance of long-term mentorship. So I just wanted to shout out that because I think that's really, really important. But going back to the story. So I'm in this mastermind. I've been in this mastermind for 4 years. And again, not just when I need it. Because there's been many years I need it. There's been many years I don't. So this speaker comes in last April. And to be perfectly honest, I had no idea who he was. So usually in this mastermind, Chris brings in people who we all know, right? Dean Graziosi, Jen Gottlieb, Adley, Natalie from Boss Babe, people who we all know. And we're like, oh yeah, I know this person. I follow him on Instagram. I'm a fan. But he brought in this person that none of us really knew. And he came into the back of the room and there was something about his energy. And there was something about the way that he showed up. He showed up in jeans, which I love. He showed up in a hoodie, which I love, and a backward baseball hat. And I was like, I'm here for this type of energy. And he grabbed the mic and my jaw dropped. I was blown fucking away by this guy's energy, by his knowledge, by the way that he answered questions, by the way that he motivated, literally everything. I could have listened to this guy for the 5 days that I was in the mastermind. He spoke for about 90 minutes And every single one of us was like, this is the best speaker you've ever brought in. In fact, Tracy O'Malley, who's been in the mastermind for 7 or 8 years, she raised her hand and she said, Chris, out of every speaker you've ever brought into this mastermind, hands down, he is the best one we've ever had. So he runs the fastest growing franchise in the nation. He's business partners with people like Gary Vee, Drew Brees, Shaquille O'Neal, and he is one of the most sought out speakers in the nation right now. He's speaking on stages with 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 people, has one of the top business and entrepreneurial podcasts out there. And you know what I said to myself? I'm going to be friends with this guy. I don't know what it is, but I want to literally, I want to be friends with him. Yeah, I want to be on his podcast one day and I want to do business with him. But in all honesty, I just want to riff with this guy. I want to legit be friends with him. So in the mastermind, we don't get to hang out with these people, right? They come in and speak, they get back on their private planes and they leave. So I did exactly what I tell all of you guys to do. And what that was I slid into his DMs. He probably wasn't even at the airport yet. And he got a DM from me. And it said something just like this. His name is Jeff. Hey, Jeff, it was so great to meet you today. These were my biggest takeaways from your presentation at Chris Harder's event. If there's ever anything that I can do to support you or serve you, I would absolutely love to do that. And I have no doubt this is the beginning of an awesome business relationship. Within a couple hours, he messaged me back and he was like, thank you so much for this message. I also enjoyed speaking to you and your group. Let me know more about you. What do you do? I'm always interested in meeting new people. So again, genuine, real connections. And we riffed. We riffed on everything from both being parents of daughters. We riffed on him being married, me being divorced. We riffed on entrepreneurship. We riffed on Michael Jordan. He's a huge Michael Jordan fan. In fact, he actually talked about Michael Jordan in his speech, but literally had me at hello. And we also talked about the fact that he is in the food service business and I came from food service distribution. So we had a lot in common. And from there, I just continued to share him out. I would share his podcast out genuinely. I would genuinely listen to his podcast and be like, you guys, this was an awesome fucking episode. Listen to it, right? And I would tag him and he would see my name. Maybe he would do a reel and I'd be like, this is straight fire. Check out Jeff, right? And I just kept doing this, not in an obnoxious way, not in an aggressive way, but every couple of weeks or maybe once a month, I would share him out. And he is someone just like me that manages his social. So he would see my name. Jillian Murphy shared it. Jillian Murphy shared it. And every time he'd be like, thanks. And after about 6 months, I actually invited him to come onto my podcast. And I wasn't sure what he would say because, again, he's a huge name, you guys, okay? He's not someone that's just sitting around on Zoom all day. And he was like, I would absolutely love to come in and serve your audience. So he came on my show. It was a great episode. And we had a really great conversation. From there, I joked around with him and I was like, hey, next time it'll be on your stage and your podcast and your mic. So I just kind of seeded it, right? Kind of joked and I kind of seeded it. When the podcast came out, I shared it with them. Again, kind of sarcastically, hey, here's your episode on my show. Let me know when you're ready to have me on yours. Over the next couple of months, I would share out his stuff, get to know him a little bit more. In December, so we're now April to December, I took my shot. And I said, Jeff, I love your podcast. I love what you do. I would absolutely love the opportunity, seriously, to support your audience and come in and talk about sales and business. If this is ever an opportunity, please let me know. He instantly responded with, it's the end of the year, but let's touch base in January. Now, some of you might have took this as oh, he's blowing me off. I don't want to reach back out in January. January 17th, I sent him another message. And I said, hey, Jeff, I hope you had a great holiday with your family, you and your wife and your kids. I saw the pictures. It was beautiful. We are now in January. So let me know if we can get that podcast scheduled. And guess what? He saw the message and didn't respond. And I was like, oh, bummer, right? Sucks. So I didn't say anything. That was January 17th. I'm planning my event, March 25th and 26th. And I'm thinking to myself, who do I want to support for this event? And whose books do I want to get? So about 2 weeks ago, so from January 17th to the end of February, I sent him another message. And this time I send a voice note. Most of my messages have been text. I send a voice note. And I'm like, hey, Jeff, I would love to support you and order 50 books for my event. Also, 50 people are coming to my event. I am so freaking excited. You guys, this is the biggest event that I've ever hosted. And I'm like somewhat scared, anxious, but also like so freaking pumped about the magic that's going to happen in this room. And I said, hey, I want to support you and I'd love to order 50 books. Let me know the best place to order them. I don't know if you have a link, if you have a website, if I should do it direct, if I should go on Amazon, let me know. He saw the message and didn't respond. And I was like, oh, this is awkward, right? So now many of you, let's be honest, how many of you guys would quit? And you guys would be like, all right, I don't want to bug this guy. I don't want to sound annoying. I don't want to be weird. I don't want to be salesy. And I'm not going to ever say anything again. So 2 weeks goes by and all I do is I send a little arrow and I say, just following up, I'm going to place that order today. He sends me a message last night and says, oh my gosh, so sorry. Thank you for following up. You guys, I said that loud on purpose. Oh my gosh, thank you for following up. Let me know if you've ordered the books yet. If you haven't, the best place to order them is on Amazon. And then he also said something else about how he could support me with the books, which I'm going to leave out because that's a private conversation. And then he said, and yes, I'd absolutely love to get you on the podcast. You guys, I took my shot and I followed up. This is where it changes. So I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and get those books ordered. And absolutely, yes, I'm going to get that scheduled for the podcast. So then I say, thank you. Good night. Appreciate you. He responds back with, when is your event? Tell me more. Who's going to be there? And I said, oh my gosh, it's March 25th and 26th. It's going to be 50 entrepreneurs. They want to learn, content, messaging, marketing, sales, and really just a great opportunity to network with other business owners. And he said, interesting. Is it in Arizona? And I said, yes, it is. And he said, I'm actually going to be there March 27th. And I think to myself, do I take my shot? Do I say something? You guys, it's the guy that gets paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars probably to speak at events. And he's literally speaking right now at the Aspire tour everywhere. So like speaking to like 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 people right now. Like he's not going to want to speak at my like 50-person event, right? So I'm like, that's amazing. You're going to be right in my backyard. I hope your daughter has a great horse show because he tells me he's going to be here for his daughter's horse show. And he's like, thank you. Then he responds back, hey, I don't want to invite myself, but I'm flying in on the 25th and I actually have nothing to do on the 26th. If you have room in your agenda, I'd love to come to your event and totally speak and meet your community. What? You guys, this is incredible. It's not only incredible that I'm going to be on this podcast. It's not only incredible that he's going to be a speaker and a guest inside of Infinity Live, and these people are going to be blown away by the speaker like I was. But the message here, if you haven't heard it already, is the long game, relationship capital, building rapport, following up, creating connections, asking for things that are the big ask. And I think that this episode is probably one of the most impactful episodes I've ever recorded, because I want you to listen to this over and over and over. When you don't want to make the ask, when you're nervous about following up, when there's someone you think that's ahead of you and you're like, oh, they wouldn't be on my show or they wouldn't speak at my event. Or maybe you meet someone and you're like, how do I begin a conversation with this person? This is how it happens. You guys, for those of you that are coming to Infinity Live, buckle the fuck up because this event is going to blow your mind. Who we're having at this event, what we're doing at this event, the connections, the collaborations, the learning, the networking, the social aspect. Like, it is going to be absolutely incredible. The access to speakers in my network that I am bringing in for this event is unlike anything else I've ever done before. I'm so incredibly grateful for the opportunity to serve the people that are in my world. And when you're in my world, you don't just get me, you get my network. I have gone first. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars to be in rooms, to have access to these people, so that when I have events or I have something going on, I can then bring my people in to these rooms. You know, I'm going to say this, and this might ruffle some feathers, but I've been to a lot of events and the speakers suck. The speakers absolutely suck. You know why? Because they're not putting themselves in rooms where they have access to high-level people. They're not putting themselves in rooms where they have connections to the best of the best. When you invest in me, you get that. You get my network. You get my mentors. You get the people that are pouring into me. And that's why it's different in my world. So you guys, I can't wait to see you at the Infinity Live event. We did open ticket sales for one day. So if you are interested in making it to this event, do not sit on it. Send me a message in my DMs and we will absolutely get you a spot. Until next time, happy selling.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Scale Your Sales podcast. If today's episode has you fired up, would you do me a huge favor and leave a review over on Apple or Spotify podcast? Or, of course, you can always take a screenshot and share it on your social media. That is the way we grow this show, and so that other people can absolutely learn how to grow their sales as well. I am on a mission to change the mindset of sales. I want people to freaking love sales, because the reality is sales is the foundation of everything you do. It's how your business generates revenue consistently. So remember, keep showing up and being unapologetic about selling, because once you fall in love with selling, the sky is absolutely the limit. Until next time, happy selling, and my DMs are always open. I can't wait to get to know you better.